Red light, green light, red light, green light, red light, green light, red light, green light, red light.
Folks, we always love being here on the Soul Sessions, and we love to showcase some of the great talent that are rising up across this United Kingdom. But with us today is one of those talents. They are truly an exceptional individual. Skylar Rose, welcome to the Soul Sessions.
Thank you so much for having me. Pleasure to be here.
Oh, hey, everyone's welcomed on this platform, and you're someone who's been quite notable without the scene, growing a social-based following and quite a presence. So it's great to have you here. But of course, we do with every guest. Every guest has a story. Every story has a beginning. How did your story begin as a wrestling fan, Skylar?
So I was watching it over my brother's shoulder. I was quite young. He was watching it on YouTube at the time, and I just peeked over his shoulder and I was watching what he was doing. And that was how it started. But it was sort of like a gentle start, because I'd sort of watch a bit and then come out of it, watch a bit, come out of it. And then I didn't really fully get into it until about 2017, 2018. And then from there, it wasn't long before we got the ball rolling.
Good point. I mean, 2017, 2018, a very unique period, especially with the World Wrestling Entertainment, WWE. A lot of people think the time that product wasn't the best. As we have now, it wasn't the best. But for your thoughts, Skylar, do you think the WWE product between that time period of 2017 and 2018 is actually maybe underrated, or do you think the criticisms are correct?
I think the criticisms are fairly okay with that. I used to watch a lot of the Shield stuff, so I'd go back and watch what they used to do, and anything from, like, I think it was 2013 when they started, so I was more playing catch up. I sort of fell in love with the Shield, and that was my faction. I followed them through trying to catch up with what they were doing in 2018, and I think that was right before Dean left. I don't know when Dean left. I can't remember when that was, but yeah, I sort of was watching the journey from when the Shield broke up again, reunited, and then broke up again. So it was a hell of a journey watching that. Storytelling, I love it. I'm a massive fan of storytelling.
Stories are the best thing. They get us invested and love these characters and what they go through. Obviously, the Shield, Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, Dean Ambrose, now Jon Moxley in AEW, are quite a trifecta of characters. What was it about the Shield that you think had that connection with fans and people loved them so much?
I think it's the way that they spoke out, and they had like a very good, I guess, campaign, on like they'd fight against The Miz and his group of people, and they'd say things and they'd go back and forth, and I'm fairly certain, not sure that this is the best thing to admit on an interview, but I'm fairly certain I can remember one of their promos like word for word, and the fact that I can remember it word for word goes to show like how much I've gone back and watched it. That specific moment has got like quite a lot of, like, I keep going back to it. I suppose it's my comfort time period, so that's where I find myself falling back into.
Absolutely. And a great group, great men, all have done great things and are still doing great things right now. Obviously, Seth Rollins is in Money in the Bank. That's coming weekend. Jon Moxley is the AEW World Champion on his 4th reign. Roman Reigns is head of the table with that legendary title reign. Do you think that among wrestling history, past, present, and forward, these 3 men will be the most important men in wrestling history?
I think it is quite possible. I feel like they've all got quite a good history, as you've just said, with Roman Reigns, with what he's done. Seth Rollins has had quite the career, the Money in the Bank, the heist of the century, and everything that Dean/John has done since leaving WWE. I think it would be kind of hard to deny that in some ways.
Absolutely. And no complaints from me. I like the Shield. I like all 3 men. I think they're exceptional wrestlers. But I'm always fascinated because, from people who know my story, I got into wrestling in 2019. So I wasn't somebody who grew up with Ruthless Aggression or PG era. And I always find it fascinating to go back and watch what came before. And similar for yourself, Skylar, what was something that you found interesting to go back and see and think, wow, that actually is quite impressive story?
So I'm going back through the Royal Rumbles at the moment, like going all the way back. And I think it was I want to say 2006 or 2008 one, where John Cena returns from an injury, and like the crowd are shocked because I don't think they're meant to. I don't think they were expecting him back. And then I think there was Triple H in the ring as well. I think Triple H was who injured him. So that Royal Rumble, I'm like, I like that Rumble. I go back and I watch that one, and I'm like, there's all these special moments in wrestling that I feel like people sometimes don't capture all of the moments, because there are like so many moments across wrestling history. And you could go back to sort of any time period and find some really cool moments if you just look a little bit further.
Absolutely. There are always, those diamonds in the rough, and you go back there, you might have to go through so many episodes of bad Raw to find one match or one promo that really cements somebody's status. And it's always great to see. And of course, you mentioned John Cena, who is currently the WWE champion, 16-time altogether, one of the best to go. And he's a bad guy. He's a heel right now. And some people like it, some people don't. Some people think it should be this way, some people think it should be that way. Your thoughts on John Cena's heel turn 6 months into the year?
I'm really enjoying it. I think that it's been quite well done. I like that it happened to Cody in some ways, of all people. Like, you've got the biggest baby face there, so if you're going to turn heel, it's a great person to turn heel on. And then the only thing I'll say is I love R-Truth, so that match was difficult for me because I absolutely love R-Truth, and watching that match, it was quite a good match for what I expected it was going to be. So yeah, I am enjoying the run so far.
Absolutely. People do connect to it, people do enjoy it, and they're turning up to watch it, and the merchandise is selling as always. So ka-ching in the bank for WWE, because they always need the money. You mentioned being a fan of R-Truth, and I would obviously have to bring up the news of R-Truth's departure from the WWE, which was a shock to a lot of people because he's been there for so long. Even when his first run was in the WWF as K-Quick, hardcore champion with Road Dogs, and came back, and he's been a staple of the company ever since. As a fan, seeing R-Truth departure must be quite heartbreaking, correct?
It was. I found out from one of my wrestling friends as well. I try not to look on social media for too much, especially not like journalists and things like that. I try to keep out of it. But I found out by a friend, and I was like, what? Like, he's gone? Like, are we sure that this isn't like a prank? And then once we'd sort of discussed it a bit more, I was like, okay. Like, I was really gutted because he's had so many comedy moments throughout his entire career. And I think he had like 57 runs with that 24/7 championship. Like, there's so much fun. And that's what wrestling's all about. Like, having a bit of fun, having a laugh, and yeah, just having fun.
Absolutely. He is a fun individual, and I'm sure wherever he goes and wherever he decides, he will land on his feet and loved again. Is there anywhere particular you would like to see R-Truth go in his future?
I just hope that if he does continue to wrestle, that he has fun with it. Like, he just continues to do what he was doing there, like in Judgment Day and things like that, where he was just showing up, and then it was part of Judgment Day, then it wasn't part of Judgment Day, the Live Love R-Truth t-shirt, and all of the other things that he come out with. Yeah, I just hope wherever he goes that he has a lot of fun, and yeah, he just continue. If that's what he wants to do, he continues.
Absolutely. And I, don't know the man myself, but I honestly wish him and everyone the best because he is a truly fun individual. But you mentioned a key word there that I think wrestling fans have forgotten: fun. A lot of people seem to have forgotten that word in modern times. There's a lot of my company's better than your company's going to fail, or all that. And nobody really enjoys the fun of it anymore. Why do you think that is, Skylar? Obviously, with how wrestling Twitter is and social media platforms, why do you think some people have forgotten the word fun within professional wrestling?
It's quite hard to know the answer to that one, really. I feel like people have got into it, but it's become very tribalistic in terms of like, this company is better than this company, and if you disagree with me, you're wrong. And that's something that I really struggle with, because we can all have opinions on the different styles of wrestling that we like, but that's it. Like, there's no need to tear each other down, to try and build bridges apart from the thing that we all love. Like it's always confused me for quite like a while now why there's such this tribalistic sense of no, this is the right way, this is the wrong way. You can't support this person if you're going to support this, and I'm just like, why? Like, wrestling is meant to be fun, and you're all taking the enjoyment out of it for yourselves. I never understand it.
We can't understand how these people think and why they think a certain way. You know, I'm a massive AEW fan. You know, the merch behind me says it and my bank account. But I go to WWE events and I don't turn into a ball of flame because I've entered the other company. You know, I can attend both and have fun with them. It's just the way wrestling fans are. They are a very odd bunch, and I don't know why they are that way. But I know as well within wrestling there are many variations of it, from, you know, the WWE style, as they say, hardcore deathmatch promotions, Brit Rest, all these other styles, lucha. What is it about wrestling that you think allows it to have this culture of matches and presentation that's so varied?
I think there's just so many people who have set like different standards of what each style of wrestling culminates of. So there's so many different styles of things that have been started, like here in the UK, the things that we do, and then the things that people do in death matches versus just standard like singles matches, as opposed to what people do in WWE and AEW, because even they're like slightly different in the things that they do and the way that they run. And I'm sure TNA is probably slightly different in the way that they run as well. But yeah, I'm not entirely sure on that one.
It's an interesting one to think about and just see how wrestling is presented, because I know especially here in the UK we have sub-levels to our wrestling. Obviously there is that major Brit Rest, but then there's obviously, you know, deathmatch wrestling here in Britain, and I know as well you're a big fan of that, correct?
Yes, I have been to quite a few death matches in my time.
From a fan's point of view, what is it about, you know, Brit Death that really appeals to you?
I think it's the stories that are told within the matches. Sometimes there doesn't need to be a story that's told, but when there is a story that's told, I feel like I can connect a bit better to it. There's been some great stories with Lou and Darwin. They had a good story. They had a good run in terms of when Darwin betrayed Lou and they went back and forth. And then there's been a few things on TNT that I've managed to keep my eyes on in terms of Lucy with her deathmatch champion. And just, it's great to keep an eye on it. It's great now that we've got so many different ways of keeping your eyes on all of the promotions that are going on, because it's hard to get to everywhere all at once. I've seen a few things on Bleeding Gums as well. I've been to one of the Bleeding Gums ones. And then obviously we've got ICW coming to Bleeding Gums in September, October, I'm not entirely sure, but it's definitely one of those. And then, you know, you've got people coming over from America to like help showcase, and yeah, it's just really, really, it's a great time to be a deathmatch fan, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, you know, obviously Bleeding Gums is a company that I work for as well and do a lot of great stuff for them behind the scenes and on the scenes as well, minus the choking and the stapling and all that other shabam that I have to go through. But hey, it's just the nature of the business. But obviously, you have mentioned, obviously, yeah, ICW are coming over Bleeding Gums for a free show weekend in September. They're also coming back to Edinburgh for their second anniversary. And it's quite fascinating, obviously, for somebody who wasn't really knowledgeable of deathmatch here in Britain, to then being a part of Bleeding Gums from their first show into their second year anniversary. As a fan, Skylar, what do you think Bleeding Gums has brought to deathmatch wrestling in Britain?
I think it's definitely special. Like a lot of people, well, there's a few people that I know that will travel all the way up to Scotland to go and see it. So it's clearly something quite special because people are willing to travel a further distance to go and watch the wrestlers do what they do best. So I feel like that's sort of the community of the deathmatch scene as well. Like there is a community of people who will go from show to show to follow people around and to watch their matches. And I think Bleeding Gums is really special in the fact of who they bring over. I think they brought over Mickey Knuckles recently, or she will be coming over fairly recently. And that's definitely someone who I've got my eyes on. There's a few people who have been announced so far for the September. Is it September? It is September. The September show for ICW that I'm like, okay, I am gonna make my travel. So I'm already starting to arrange travel, hotels, and things like that. So I think it's a case of the community and the talents that they bring with them.
Absolutely. Like the likes of Mickey Knuckles, Necro Butcher, I think Masada's been announced for our second anniversary show, which is fascinating to see as well. But obviously, the home talent we have here, the likes of Iceman, Jack Harrop, Blue Nixon, Alton Thorne, Brett Stemtex, Darwin, you've mentioned, like all of these characters within deathmatch wrestling, especially in Britain. I want to know, Skylar, who's your four favorites? If you had to pick some favorites, I'm going to make you think.
You put me on the spot here.
I try.
4 favorites. I'm not going to go in any order because I'll have people in my messages. But I will say, Alton Thorne. I'll say Brett Semtex. I'll say Lou Nixon, and I'll say Drew Parker. Those are the 4.
Good picks all around. No in particular order, so nobody has to go in the DMs. We're all safe. We're all okay. Nobody there. But Lou Nixon, obviously, there's a story there. There's something, because you've been really going after Lou. I've seen Tom Campbell from the social medias and the wrestling culture talk about it as well. Why is it that you're particularly going after Lou Nixon?
Well, there's something about Lou, and I feel like there's no better way to challenge yourself than by getting in the ring with Lou Nixon and seeing if you can survive. I'm pretty sure he's got like MMA background, kickboxing, not entirely sure which one it is, but it's definitely like an MMA style of background. And I suppose I like a challenge. One thing about me is I'm the underdog in every situation. So what better way for me to try and prove myself than to step in the ring with Lou Nixon and see if I can survive? I think it would be quite fun. And you know me, like I don't quit. So I would be in that ring giving him everything I've got. And I've still got my eyes on him. He may think that I have backed away, but rest assured I'm watching his every move.
Lying in wait and waiting to strike. I mean, that's when things are going to be scary and when you'll actually get the jump on Lou, because Lou is a big guy, a ferocious guy. I'm sending you all the best of luck, because I'll stand in the corner. I ain't getting involved. I am not getting any more blood on this suit because it's too expensive to get the dry cleaning done for it, and I love it too much. But your story as well, Scott. I want to know your story of how you decided to be, once a fan, always a fan, but you would be the fan who would take the extra step to getting into the square circle itself. What is that story?
So the story itself is very complicated, but I will do my best to try and shorten it down as much as I can. In terms of becoming a fan into wrestling itself, I believe I did start at Future Shock. I was watching a few shows in London. I think it was Progress chapter. It was a Progress show, I remember that much. And it was not long after that where I was like, okay, I think I'm going to see if I can get in the ring. And I was traveling from Nottingham to Manchester to train, which was quite wild. But I was training. I did my 4 weeks beginner course with Sam Bailey, and that's how it started. From there, it was quite painful, but I was smaller than I am now, and I'm not going to go into massive details about it, but I've had a very difficult journey in terms of fixing that. So I ended up taking a break for about a year and a half, maybe longer than that. COVID kind of messes up my timeline, so I've got no idea. But I think it's about a year and a half. I then returned, but I went to New Wave West Midlands, and that was with Flash Morgan Webster. So I was there for about 6 months. That was Stoke-on-Trent, so I was going from Nottingham to Stoke-on-Trent. And then I decided I needed somewhere a bit closer. So I found PPW, and then I decided I was going to move from Nottingham to Sheffield so I could train as much as I train at PPW. But yeah, the journey itself's a difficult one because there was a lot of like, I don't know if I can do this. And then there was people being like, maybe you should stay as a fan. And I'm not sure if you've seen the video that has not long gone up on social media. I think it went up last night. But to go from being told you can't do it to doing it and then having matches and proving people wrong, it's been the best feeling ever. I can't lie. It's not been an easy journey, and the journey is nowhere near complete in terms of the weight. But having said that, we've come a very, very long way. Very long way.
Absolutely. I'm familiar with the video you're mentioning that was recently posted on your social media page, and it's quite a powerful video to see that and see the journey of yourself. The journey is always still going. There is no end point. And it's fascinating, and honestly, be proud, because I always say any person that goes in the ring and has a match and continues to do so is somebody that is quite brave and quite understanding of the wrestling lifestyle and is committed to it. So be proud of that. Be proud of that achievement that you've done to actually get into the ring, have a match, and continue on. That's the main thing I think to always have.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you mentioned PPW. I've had many people sing the praises of PPW, and I always like to see the place, see what's developing. For yourself, PPW, what has it meant to you?
Oh gosh, it's meant a lot. They've been there for me when I was at rock bottom, when my confidence was so low I couldn't walk in through the front door. I'd have to message Liam being like, hey, I can't walk in, and he'd have to guide me in to now where I'm doing 3 to 4 sessions a week. I'm enjoying what I'm doing. I'm having fun with it. I can come in and be relatively confident in my own abilities. And the fact that Liam and Nathan have both seen the confidence from where I started in November, I want to say last year, but I think it was even further than that now. Where they saw the confidence to where it is now, that's crazy. Like, I would be shocked if I could meet the person I was back then now. I think I'd be shocked at how far I've come. But you don't really often stop to kind of smell the roses, no pun intended, to smell the roses until someone's like, hey, do you remember when this happened? And you're like, oh, wow, like that's insane. Even like my first match to where I am now, mental, like absolutely mental. And that's, I'm going to be in trouble for saying this, but that's all. I give them all of the credit for that. I give Nathan and Liam pretty much all of the credit for that. And I'll receive a few messages being like, hey, you need to take some credit. But I tend to give them all the credit for that. So,
Well, hey, credit all around, and obviously massive credit to yourself as well, because you are the person in the ring doing all of that and walking away from it as well. So take that credit as well. But I obviously know PPW bring in a lot of great people for sessions, seminars. And one of those I have to talk about is somebody that I've always seen up and down this scene, who's truly a part of it. Started her own little show. I like my show, but her show is a bit better. I have to say that by proxy. Nina Samuels. She is quite an exceptional wrestler, and I want to know, what was it like to have that chance to meet her, and did you learn anything particular from Nina Samuels?
I was very, very nervous for this one. I do find myself somewhat nervous before when people are taking over sessions. I was very, very nervous for this one because Nina's someone who I look up to and who I watch and who I try and learn from. So the fact that she was coming to PPW, I was like, I am a little bit nervous. But we went over different types of ways of doing promos without speaking, and all the different types of things in terms of working for a camera, which is something that I still somewhat struggle with, but I'll allow myself a little bit of credit on that because it's more difficult than you first think. But once you start to get the hang of it, over time it will come into play. But I've learned so much. We've had so many incredible talents in brought in on a monthly basis that is just insane to get to learn from all of these people.
Absolutely. And Nina's obviously one of the best. Obviously, stuff she's done in Progress, Eve, Riot Cabaret, fascinating star, and who knows what's the future her for her. It's going to be absolutely insane. But I do want to take a wee detour down south to Little Wales, where a lot of great things are going on down there. And I know obviously you've had the chance to go down to New Wave Cardiff to meet Mark Andrews and Split Split Pin. I want to know what was it like learning from those two individuals at New Wave.
So New Wave Cardiff is insane. I was there for I've been there for 2 sessions, I want to say. One was a group session, and then one was more of a private group session, so to say. And both times, it's just been an incredible environment to learn from. It's getting to pick people's brains is perhaps one of my favorite things to do. Like, if I have an opportunity to sit down and learn from someone, better believe I will be there learning. Like, I have a notepad that I take with me absolutely everywhere. And if I have a chance to take some notes from something that somebody said, I will be doing it, because you've got to try and improve and hone your craft. And what better way to do it than by asking some of the best people around? So Mark really helped me in terms of developing certain moves in my moveset. And yeah, I'm forever grateful for him for that as well, because I don't know if he knows how much he helped me with that. So yeah.
Great individuals all around, and the Welsh scene especially are so welcoming and connective, and it's a great scene, a part of this massive kingdom we have. But you mentioned documenting everything down, and I've been quite fascinated about how I speak to some indie wrestlers and they're always focused on documenting everything down, matches they've had, things they've learned. And obviously I know we have Tony Khan's favorite website, cagematch.com, which likes to document a lot of things, but I've found a lot do want to document things now in this modern era. How important is it for you, Skylar, to document everything you've learned or done within wrestling?
I feel like it's like so important, because it's so easy to forget things. And I always try and take bits and pieces from everyone. So I've had some advice from Kemper recently. And straight away I was like, okay, I need to make a note of that. And then I was training with Leon, and we had a 1-to-1 session, and he gave me some bits. So I'm like, okay, I need to make notes of what I can work on to improve here. And then there's things that Liam will say, or Nathan will say. And I'm constantly trying to make sure that I've got bits and pieces down. You can't take everyone's advice all at once, because that's a lot. And you've kind of got to take everything and see what sticks almost. But I find it really important to document things, especially matches and feedback from said matches. That's what I find really important, because you can't get better unless you've got the feedback to go off of.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. You know, any criticism you should take it on and think about. It could be positive, it could be negative, but it could lead to a better development of yourself. You know, I'm always happy for criticism on this show. I know people say that, you know, my mic quality is shit, and I understand that, but I'm also cheap. I don't want to pay for things. I'm sorry. I like to save money for beer. But I do want to talk about some big events that are coming here to the UK. And obviously one of those is AEW New Japan Forbidden Door, coming down here in London, August 25th. Obviously, we've had the last 2 All-Ins. They've happened here. All-In this year is staying over in Texas. But Skylar, just your thoughts on such a big show for AEW and New Japan coming to London for the first time.
It's definitely going to be insane, because we talk about like talents coming over from America as it is for like some of our shows. And then the fact that we're going to have people from Japan and America, and I'm sure a few other places as well, because Tony tends to throw in a treat or two into the mix. So the fact that you're in there with such a diverse group of people, and yeah, so the fact that like you have got the opportunity to see so many different people is going to be insane. And maybe they might pop up on some of the other shows that are running around that week, or obviously depending on their schedules and things. But it's always pretty cool when they come over and you get to see from them. You see their perspectives.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. It's fascinating to see because you never know who's going to show up. I know Jericho showed up at a Rev Pro show, and obviously Mercedes Moné is the Rev Pro Women's Champion. Will she be showing up at their anniversary show that's happening at the Crystal's Palace on the Friday and the Saturday? I don't know. It's going to be exciting to see what's going on there. I do also have to talk about the world champion for AEW, who is Jon Moxley at the moment. He's obviously scheduled to face Hangman Adam Page at All in Texas. As a fan, Skylar, I want to know, who do you want to see be the AEW world champion when they come over to the UK? Moxley or Hangman?
So the little version of me says Jon Moxley. However, I feel like I want to say Hangman because I really like Hangman, and I think I was going to say he's underrated, but I feel like he's starting to get the flowers. Again, no pun intended. Starting to get the flowers he deserves. I feel like he is really good, especially in terms of the storytelling that he's done with Swerve over the past sort of year, probably longer than a year, but the stories that they've been telling, I love a good story. I'm a sucker for a story. If I can see a storytelling in wrestling, I'm here for it.
Well, hey, fair enough indeed. I mean, there's so many great stories, I think, especially around that Forbidden Door show. Obviously, Osprey's advertised for it, and whatever Osprey's in is like Meltzer's favorite cup of tea ever, so he'll be happy. And obviously, I know Hiroshi Tanahashi will having his final match in the UK at Forbidden Door. Tanahashi's a very special talent. Obviously, he is the president of New Japan. He's somebody that's won the championship so many times, main evented Wrestle Kingdoms. What do you think it'll mean for UK wrestling history to know that Tanahashi will be having his final UK match in a couple of months?
I think it's quite important. I believe that there's another Japanese wrestler who came over fairly recently. Was it Miko? Miko, who had one of their last matches here in the UK. So it seems like it's almost becoming a bit of like the standard to have like a last match over here. To almost, I guess it must be to show the fans like their appreciation, I guess. But yeah, I feel like it would be really, really cool to see. Again, another one that wasn't exactly his final match, but a match with implications with Bryan Danielson. Like when he come over, and that was like he could retire. This could be his last match at Wembley. And then obviously all the things that happened after that. But yeah, it's just a nice way of, I guess, showing the fans here's a bit of appreciation. Like we'll come over and we'll show you anything that like you may have not seen before. Some people may not have ever seen Tanahashi wrestle, and it's a great way of sort of showing them before he goes, kind of a thing.
Mm. I think it also speaks to our scene and how varied it is that people will come over and happily wrestle, you know, a family show or a caravan park show or a holiday show or something like that, and just get that varied experience because we offer that much. I mean, we create some amazing talented wrestlers, like I've mentioned, Will Ospreay, Drew McIntyre, Nikki Cross, Gallus, all of these fascinating stars. What is it about the UK that you think creates these amazing stars? Is it just how varied we are? Is it just the best food we have? Is it Weatherspoons? Does Weatherspoons just really create best stars? I mean, I need to know.
I mean, personally, I am a Weatherspoons diehard because I spend all of my time in Weatherspoons getting a barbecue chicken pizza. That's my go-to. But do I think that makes the stars? Probably not. I think that's probably the amount of training schools we've had. Like we've got like the good training schools we've got, and just other people helping lift each other up. I feel like the communities of people trying to support each other and not knocking each other down helps to kind of breed the next generation, so to speak, of talents. That's what I find.
I'll take it. We're a great bunch, and maybe it is spoons. Maybe it is just that Purple Rain cocktail picture that really just sparkles up my day, and I think, yep, everything is right in the world. But you know what, Skylar, we're coming to the end of our time here on the Soul Sessions, and I appreciate you coming on. So I'm going to wrap up with the old final question. You've mentioned your love for death matches, and I need to know, is there a plan for you wanting to do a death match in the future? And if so, what weapons would you love to use in a death match ring?
Oh, okay. Now we've got a good question here. It's gonna take me a while. I feel like it would be really fun to have me, Drew, Lou, and Alton in a match in a 4-way. And the weapons I would take, I'd take thumbtacks, light tubes probably. Yeah, I'll take light tubes, glass panes. I'm trying to think of more weapons. I know that there's more weapons than that. Barbed wire. I'll probably do barbed wire. That seems okay. I mean, it's all painful. Don't get me wrong, but that's kind of what you sign up for. So I take Drew's darts. I'd probably take skewers. I'd love to feel that, like skewers in the head. It's a really cool aesthetic that I love seeing from people. I know that Atticus over in America does it quite frequently. You'll just see him smack them into someone's head, and then it's like a porcupine, and I absolutely love it. Yeah, I don't think there's many weapons that I'd be like, I don't know. Fire's probably the only one that I'd be like, hey, maybe not fire. I mean, I respect Tim. I've seen Tim do fire, and I'm like, yeah, I don't think that's for me. I think I'll take a pass on that one.
Oh yeah. The creativity of those guys, they are an absolute mad bunch. And I mean, hey, you'll go in there, leave a point because roses are quite thorny, so I think they'll definitely leave
You're
their
on
mark.
something there.
I like my little bit of corny jokes. I try my best here. But of course, Skylar, it's been a pleasure to have you on the Soul Session. And of course, folks, if you love what you've heard from Skylar, I'll include the link to their Instagram down below. You can click it, follow them, see their journey, and see where they get up to within the United Kingdom wrestling scene. Now, of course, folks, as I say, always as a good Scotsman, I don't have one now because I do have a hangover. Finish up your drink, put your chair away, and thank you as always for tuning in for another episode of the Soul Sessions.
Now about the humans who wanna live like animals do. No more laws and no more rules.